Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, Bahama Resort postpones its reopening to October. Its president says staff reductions to come. A woman dies in a traffic accident just days before a big day for her daughter. Plus, another F&M MP rips into the government's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. As the country begins the phased reopening of its borders, Bahama President Graham Davis informed employees that the resort will not reopen until October and will have to make staff reductions during that period. In his letter, Davis said due to the many variables resulting from the evolving nature of COVID-19, we have made the difficult decision to postpone our reopening date beyond the July 1st reopening of the Bahamas. Instead, it is our goal to reopen in October. Back in March, the company committed to paying employees a portion of their salary for up to 90 days. In his letter, Davis explained that the payment schedule has been extended, saying, "Maintaining support for those of you who will return to Bahama when we reopen is critically important to us. In that spirit, we are committing to provide up to an additional 90 days at 30% of your base compensation as an ex gratia payment, in addition to what you are able to collect from the National Insurance Board." Now, Davis also advised that the resort will have to make additional staff reductions to align staffing levels with projected business volume upon reopening. He said, "At the end of June, we will communicate to the individuals being impacted by the staffing reduction to discuss what we will do to support and assist you in making your transition as smooth as possible." Well, days after up to 30 Hilton employees were made redundant, the Trade Union Congress now expressing concern over the fate of hundreds of employees at Sandals Royal Bahamian, which will remain closed until November. TUC President Obie Ferguson said the union has had troubles meeting with resort officials. Bethany McDermott reports.
As Sandals Royal Bahamian aims for a November 1st reopening, Ferguson says redundancies are unavoidable, adding that the resort will not be able to hold on to all of its employees for that long a period.
They're not going to pay those workers until November. That's a given. They're going to terminate some of those workers. The question is, when they're terminated, would you be able to go to Labor Board?
The announcement by their luxury resort came in a statement to its travel partners advising them of the November 1st opening for the Royal Bahamian location and July 2nd for the Emerald Bay Exuma location. The statement does not offer an explanation as to why the opening of the Royal Bahamian has been pushed back. Ferguson says the Bahamas Hotel Maintenance and Allied Workers Union, which is the bargaining body for staff members, ran into some difficulties meeting with the resort.
We tried to ascertain specifics, but we're having difficulty. So the information we're receiving is merely just from the workers. But the Ministry of Labor, we aren't able to get the minister nor the director to convene a legitimate conciliation meeting.
As a result, Ferguson says the union has no specifics on what will happen to its members. The Royal Bahamian is just one of several Sandals resorts that has had its reopening date changed. Sandals South Coast and Sandals Royal Plantation on Jamaica won't open until October. Sandals Negril is slated to open on August 7th, and Sandals Ocho Rios will reopen on September 3rd. The resort chain said it spent the last few months bolstering its health and safety protocols in preparation for the reopening of its resorts. Meantime, Ferguson said the union has no other choice but to consider legal action.
We can do something. We have to, because the workers are members of the union. They pay their regular dues to the union. They expect representation. And if you fail to give representation, you need to know precisely what is going to happen. So it's unfortunate in this country.
The TUC president also hit out at the Labor Department's handling of trade union matters.
Our problem we're having, and I can't guarantee most unions will tell you, the problem they have is with the Department of Labor do not do a very good job, in my humble opinion, dealing with trade unions when there's the breach of the agreement, etc.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
75 Haitian nationals were repatriated to Port-au-Prince, Haiti on board a Bahamas Air flight from Lynden Pinling International Airport this afternoon. The group comprised 67 men and 8 women. Their repatriation was postponed in March due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Unrest erupted at the Carmichael Road Detention Center earlier this month after some Haitian nationals there demanded to be returned to Haiti. According to officials, some of those nationals went on a hunger strike and demonstrated belligerent behavior. Defense Force Marines were able to de-escalate the situation, but a fight between 2 Haitians erupted 2 hours later. Some of the detainees escaped the dormitories, destroying several fences and minor infrastructure. Well, a woman who died in a car accident on Wednesday night leaves behind 2 children. The tragic woman's death came on the eve of a major milestone. Jared Higgs reports.
Family members tell Our News the victim of Wednesday night's traffic fatality is 35-year-old Nakara Winder, the mother of 2 children. According to police, a Mitsubishi Colt collided with a Jeep on Fox Hill Road South at around 9 Wednesday night.
The driver of the Mitsubishi was severely injured and was transported to hospital where she succumbed to her injuries.
Winder's sister, Shamika Winder, told Our News her sister died just the day before her daughter was set to graduate from high school with honors. The grieving woman said her sister was full of energy, happiness, and always fun to be around. In a Facebook post, she wrote, "She was so full of life and so outspoken. If I can turn back the hands of time, I would bypass all the bad news this morning and go straight to your baby girl graduation. Why, Cara? Your kids need you. We need you."
The fatal accident took place in the vicinity of the Bahamas Department of Corrections. When we visited the scene, all that was left was tiny car parts and skid marks.
Videos of the incident posted to social media show a mangled vehicle. The driver of the white Jeep is reportedly okay.
The Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Department is investigating the circumstances surrounding that matter.
Winder's death was the second traffic fatality for the week. A 16-year-old Foxtown Abaco resident was killed by a motorist on Sunday evening as he walked home from playing basketball. Police press liaison Audley Peters sent out this warning to road users.
We encourage road users to exercise the due care and attention that is necessary when traversing the streets of New Providence. Pay particular attention as to not to use your phones or any other devices while traversing the streets and driving.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Free National Movement Member of Parliament for Central and South Eleuthera, Hank Johnson, has accused successive governments of neglecting Family Islanders. Johnson told Parliament he has a problem with the way those residents are treated.
In the islands in particular, we find ourselves with challenges in many occasions. And as much as I may not want to say this, but someone must say this. We have persons in these islands who will continue to play games with the minds of the Bahamian people and with the government, Mr. Speaker. This is no time for a game. Families are hurting. We got to put people to work, Mr. Speaker. And I'm asking the government to fast track these projects.
Johnson said the issue did not start under the minister's administration, but called for an end to the years of neglect. He pointed to a number of deficiencies in his constituency, noting that the promised mini hospital is long overdue.
Eleuthera has been left out of the equation for many, many years. But the time has come. The time has come that Eleuthera now needs to be looked upon and recognized. And the reason why I'm saying that today, because after what happened in those other islands, Eleuthera has begun to pick up the slack. And in order for us to continue to be, continue to have a proper and a good outcome, good results, we need to have the facilities in place.
Well, Pine Ridge Member of Parliament Frederick McAlpine delivered a damning assessment of the minister's administration's handling of the COVID-19 crisis, calling the emergency orders a flirtation with dictatorship. Jasmine Brown has more.
For the first time in history of the Bahamas, through the emergency of power as depicted in the Constitution, we flirted with dictatorship, which left a bitter taste in the mouths of many Bahamian people. Never again should one man be given such power in a national crisis.
That was Pine Ridge MP Frederick McAlpine summing up his disdain for the COVID-19 emergency orders that have been put in place for the last 2.5 months in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Under the order, the Prime Minister holds the powers of the competent authority. But McAlpine told Parliament that the order simply gives one person too much power. He said, moving forward, the competent authority should consist of a minimum of 3 people or a maximum of 5 and include the leader of Her Majesty's loyal opposition or their representative.
If you're speaking about national unity, it should include the leader of Her Majesty's loyal opposition or his or her representative. It's also called political maturity and political neutralization.
He said the fact of the matter is democracy must be preserved at all costs, and he insisted there is a need for constitutional reform. McAlpine also hit out at COVID-19 travel restrictions that left Bahamians stranded all over the world.
This is what irks the Bahamian people and weakens this government. You make it difficult for Bahamians to travel inter-islandly. You demand so much, even for our people to come home. I know Bahamas here don't fly on free gas and don't fly on air, but you have to now resort to charging our people to come home. But yet you have been known to repatriate people from this country on a full Bahamas Air jet with our pilots, our stewards and stewardess, and then charge them a dime.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
More than 40 Grand Lucayan employees have not been paid in the last 2 months, according to TUC President Obi Ferguson. He says he finds the situation amazing. He told our News he has written to the minister responsible for an explanation.
If the government policy is that all of its corporation workers continue to be paid, why is it that the workers at Grand Lucayan, at least some of them are paid and some of them are not paid? That is a major concern to us.
Noting the current crisis the country is facing, Ferguson says the union is willing to work with the government.
What is due to them is an emergency fund that they all contributed to.
Right, for everyone.
Everyone. That was only paid to those workers who opted to stay on. But the workers who actually took the separation package, they are also entitled to that, up to the date and the time of their separation.
Ferguson says he is giving the Minister of Tourism until the end of the day to respond. Our News reached out to Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar for a response, but he was not available for comment. Still to come, Arawak Key reopens for business, plus Bahamians return from Cuba. Stay tuned. The star witness in the high-profile trial of a former cabinet minister is suing the government for seizing goods from 2 of his business establishments back in April. Customs officials seized goods from Jonathan Ash's man-made liquor store on Faith Avenue, as well as from a heavy-duty equipment company that he owns, according to his lawyer, Tony Scriven. Ash is seeking to recover the property that was seized, as well as damages. In court today, attorneys representing the Attorney General's office and the Comptroller of Customs agreed with Ash's attorney to preserve the confiscated goods until the matter is resolved. The parties appeared before Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bo Darville. Well, after being closed for 3 months, restaurants at Arawak Key are back in business. While your dining experience will be different, vendors say they're still serving the same great food. The sound of beer bottles clinking behind the bar at Frankie Gone Bananas means the restaurant is back in business.
This is part of our grab-and-go menu items where you can get soup.
The restaurant at the eastern end of Arawak Key has made many adjustments to its operations, even its menu adding to-go and curbside options. Executive Chef Edwin Johnson said after being shut for 3 months, the employees were eager to get back to work, even though they have to embrace changes that come with the new norm.
This entire week we are in training, training as relates to all of the safety guidelines in preparation for this. Special menu. Of course, you know, we have the courtyard, only the courtyard dining, as well as the old man's short bar that we'll be able to offer and featured the grab and go features, and along with the other specialties.
The world-famous strip of restaurants was allowed to reopen today, but only for outdoor dining and curbside pickup. Aside from hand sanitizing, even if you're just stopping for conch salad on the outside or a drink, you'll have to get your temperature taken.
I'm supposed to be checking your temperature.
Oh, so everybody... But you can't come inside.
Good. No, but you are inside, so I have to, even the cameraman. Excellent.
Just a few steps away, the team at Drifters has taken all their tables to the outside and put down social distancing markers.
Of course, you know that we're only allowed 12 customers in at a time. So what we've done is we put down markers which would be 6 feet apart, and then moving out all the tables, we've just put a little waiting area, again, adhering to social distancing for their comfort.
Drifters owner Ricardo Williams said the toughest part about being closed for 3 months was looking out for employees. But now that it's back to business, Williams said it's about keeping everyone safe and enjoying the atmosphere in the new norm.
We've been allowed outside dining for now, curbside and takeout, and so for the foreseeable future we'll operate this way. This is great, Drifters, man. We ain't stopping.
A Bahamian man who was in Cuba seeking medical attention when borders closed in March is back home after nearly 4 months. He was among a group of Bahamians who returned on a Bahamas Air flight on Thursday. Jillian Gray has his story.
After nearly 4 months in Cuba seeking medical attention for a heart condition, Vivian Wiley said he feels that the Bahamas needs more checks and balances to keep people safe.
I have a pre-existing condition. I'm a coronary patient. That's why I go to Cuba. So if any scared, is I scared that they ain't taking this thing serious? I'm 58 and I right on the border of the age where if you catch coronavirus, the probability of you dying is greater than normal.
So you're worried about catching
And I'm black.
Wiley, who had a heart attack while in Cuba, said he spent twice his usual medical bill. He had to be admitted to the ICU, and that fee cost him nearly $4,000. Upon returning home on Thursday, he claimed there were no medical professionals or immigration officers to greet the passengers and called on the government to not let its guard down.
This is the first time I walk from the plane straight through the baggage claim. What happened? What happened to the Bahamas? I just come out of the strictest place in the world for medical stuff. And I walk in, I like, these people don't know it's a pandemic going on in the world. Where they had us, no medical person was here to meet us.
16 people were on his flight. Some went to Cuba for medical reasons. Others were students. He said by the time as a medical professional came, half the passengers on the flight had already left. A Ministry of Health official said they already had the contacts for all passengers through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and that they are all being monitored as per the current protocol. Each passenger had their negative COVID-19 test in hand. In Cuba, Wiley said they had their temperature checked every day, sometimes several times a day. His stay was paid for by the Bahamas government, which he said he appreciated as his medical bills left him strapped for cash.
Through a memo from Foreign Affairs that we will pay what you all need in terms of accommodations and food, but anything extra, telephone, rum, anything like that, which I didn't need, they'll have to, you'll have to cover. So they put us up in Hotel Comodoro, and it was very strict.
Wiley said his priority now is to find somewhere to safely quarantine. Reporting for our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
All right, thanks, Jillian. Still to come, QC's class of 2020 graduates in style. Stay tuned. watching Our News. Welcome back. The COVID crisis brought out the creativity in Queens College students who graduated in a virtual ceremony this morning. From photo collages and video tributes, the class of 2020 showed it has high hopes for the future. Georgia Bain has more.
Under the theme Vision of Excellence, the graduating class of Queens College closed a chapter of their high school lives today. But this was no ordinary ceremony. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the school hosted a virtual graduation, highlighting the achievements of its seniors.
Class of 2020, this is the Vision of Excellence. I think we still got some reasons to smile. Don't you? Come on.
Head boy Daenerys Benaby shared remarks and reflections on behalf of the graduating class.
With the COVID-19 virus spreading at such an alarming rate, everything was cut short. We had our last day together on Friday the 13th of March, and we didn't even know it. And now all I can think about is how much we didn't get to do, how much we wanted to do and will never get a chance to.
Keynote speaker Dr. Nakia Forbes, who has been on the front line of the COVID-19 pandemic, told her fellow comets that despite the storms brought on by the coronavirus, there will surely be a silver lining.
What an accomplishment! Despite the hurdle you all had to surmount, you did it. Congratulations. Undoubtedly, this is not the commencement day that you envisioned. Certainly, there were visions of a momentous commencement exercise.
Past alumnus from all over the world sent in their well wishes for the graduates, including Patricia Minnis, graduate of the class of 1971 and wife of Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis.
I am so proud of all of you. Look at each of you now in your individual spaces, but together for this first virtual commencement ceremony.
School principal Reverend Henry Knowles told graduates that after all the hard work they've put in over the years and their many achievements, he is confident that they will leave their mark on the world.
Whenever the world encounters a member of the Queens College class of 2020, they will see you as a marker to follow. Perhaps this is why fundamentally you are a comet. You blaze the trail and you illuminate the way for others to follow. We are so proud of you.
For all the teachers and faculty members, the students had these words.
As we prepare to soar, comets, the next chapter of our life begins. How will you choose to start?
And thank you for preparing us for our next chapter.
Thank you, QC. Reporting for Our News, I'm Georgia Bain.
Congrats again to the class of 2020. Still to come, a Bahamian student in Canada joins protests. Stay tuned. Finally, tonight, news Bahamian student Alkin Delancey has joined the global fight to end racism by participating in protests in British Columbia, Canada, where he is set to graduate with a communications degree. He said he felt compelled to get involved because in Canada and even in traveling to the U.S., he's still just another black man.
Black males as a species was endangered because it's just like between us killing off ourselves and getting killed by police officers, it's like, where do we have a place to live? Like we feel like we're not good enough to live anymore, and that's what I don't want to do. I want to be able to have my kids grow up in a world where we're all able to work as one and we can all survive as one.
Delancey says the protests he took part in were all peaceful, even getting the support of Canadian police. The 25-year-old says he will continue to speak out on important issues.
I can only thank my parents and my sisters for the way that I was raised. But yeah, like keeping the faith has very much helped me through these times. And it's gave me hope And that's what I think the world needs right now. Like we need a lot of hope, and we need to be able to look forward to a better tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. Remember, you can catch Our News on the go with the RefGo Play app. Remember, there is no lockdown tomorrow, but still a 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew. Remember, be safe. Have a good Friday evening, Bahamas.